Hi and welcome to today's video. Today I take you through a beautiful and soothing watercolor process. I'm Nikita and in my channel I bring you all things related to art, from unboxing and reviewing art supplies to tutorials of various art forms and mediums. To get out of the daily monotony, I decided to try out art prompts and create something using them. So for this purpose, I picked out two prompts from my prompts jar and they turned out to be train and geometry. So I'm going to try and mix these two up together and create something interesting. I have a new sketchbook that I intend to fill with this series. It's from Scholar Store and it's A4 size, 300 GSM. I'm thrilled to see where this takes me. So with these two prompts, I decided to do watercolor painting of a perspective study of a train. I picked out a reference image from Pinterest and decided to give my own twist to it. The first step is always sketching. You can also create a thumbnail first on a different sketchbook and then go on to create that on your final one. But today I just decided to start drawing from the reference image and just go with the flow. Hold your pencil loosely and create some quick strokes. You can go ahead and make as less strokes as you can to get the illustration out. I tend to use my drawing table in an inclined position and sometimes I use it as a standing desk as well, which really helps me stay active, fresh, and the results show in my final piece of artwork. I'm now drawing the final few strokes, which will help me to finish the bridge below the train and then also add a little bit of details regarding the trees and the leaves that I want to create around it. Once the sketch is ready, I tend to use a kneaded eraser to remove all the darker lines and the extra pencil marks which are there. The advantage of using a kneadable eraser is that you will not get any dust residue on top of your sketchbook. So this will really help you, especially if you're doing watercolors. The entire process of creating a detailed illustration is very therapeutic. It also helps you a lot in the learning process. Like for instance, today I'm doing a study on perspective using my prompts of train and geometry. I started off with placing the objects as big shapes, getting my composition and balance right, and then I'm going now to the next step, adding the details. Had I jumped in directly to add the details, I would have missed out on the proportion and that would end up messing the entire illustration. Now that my sketch is ready, it is time to start painting. You will notice during this video that I use some different set of colors. Initially, my base colors are much brighter and then the colors that I use once the base color layers dry, for the third and the fourth layers are much more earthy and very soothing to see. Watch this entire video to see the magic unfold. Watercolors is a beautiful medium to work with and there is no one specific style that you should stick to. Experiment, find your style. It's okay to make mistakes and that is what is going to help you to find what you like creating the most. I'm adding a lot of my base colors with the different greens and now I'm going to add a little bit of brown for the trees and then we will slowly start adding in more details to it. Even though watercolors is a very quick dry and a fast medium to work with, Sometimes it takes time for your paints to dry. Sometimes it depends on the amount of water that you're adding, which is why I have fast forwarded the video and made sure that it doesn't get very boring for you to see it. But if you are somebody who loves watching the real-time video, do leave a comment here under this video so I will know if you like them and I can make those kind of videos in the future. In today's painting, I have first drawn out my illustration and then I'm going to be painting, and finally I'm going to be inking it with a black drawing ink. So the other style that I normally work with is drawing directly with the paint, which is I would just take blobs of the colors, add it onto my sheet, and then once it completely dries, I will use the drawing ink and I will ink the entire illustration and everything will start popping out and coming to life at that time. Since that is my regular style, I decided for this particular video to completely go out of my comfort zone, to do something completely different and see how the results are. The base colors that I have used are extremely bright, they are dark, so the amount of detailing that I need to do later would be a little lesser. So now I have shifted and I am using very different colors in my palette. These are much more earthier as compared to the earlier colors that I was using, and I'm going to use this on top of the brighter base layer that I have done, and you will notice that the result is completely different. I love how these colors have worked out with each other, how they activate the base color, mix with them and create a completely different shade. The whole voice of my painting has changed, the tone of it has changed, and I love how it's slowly coming to life right now. Although I am going to use ink in the end to add the details, you don't really need to do that. That is just my style and I absolutely love doing that. I think it's also because it's very therapeutic for me using the dip pen and hearing those scratches and those noises that it makes against the paper. So I think that's something that makes me look forward to doing the inking process. In fact, in this painting, even without the inking, you will notice that you're able to make out the details very easily. So when you're doing watercolor painting, you'll have to keep waiting, pausing for a moment, take your painting, keep it at a distance, see how it looks, see if you're able to make out the different objects, how the light is falling, and that will help you to decide how much more you have to paint, if you have to add more details, if you have to add more shadows. Going to add the clothes for the person who's going to be standing at the engine. This is not really my style normally, but I'm really glad that I experimented with this. It's time to add all the details right now. Some more darker shades were required and some more detailing to bring out the colors. Since my entire painting is very bright and it's also got like really dark tones, and so I have to be a little careful in terms of how much of details I add, how many layers that I add on more. Even this little bit of adding the steam coming from the train using white is a very different style from what I normally do. I would normally never use white when I'm doing a watercolor painting, but in this particular one I'm going against my usual style, so that's an exciting thing for me to do. Now that my base painting is done, I'm going to be using Indian ink and a dip pen which has a mapping nib on top of it to add in the details and the outline. This is an extremely fun part of the entire painting of watercolor, especially for me. This is where I can add in all the details that I want. You can even add these things first and then fill in the watercolor paint if you want to. See how the entire brick effect has now started popping out. I did not use paints to add those details, I used my pen. Whenever I make any illustration, especially if I make something new which is different from my style, or if I have something to remember out of it, I write a small note, which is what I'm doing right now, and writing a small little note next to my illustration. I hope you enjoyed today's process video of this watercolor illustration that I have created, and this inspires you to pick up your sketchbooks, your pencils and any medium that you want and create some magical paintings of your own. See you soon for the next one. Bye bye.